Oh boy, it looks like a big geopolitical showdown is definitely brewing, and it's not a good one.
Trump versus Putin.
As the war of words has just officially begun between Putin and Donald Trump, as Donald Trump has some very interesting things to say today that I'm a little concerned about, to be quite honest. About, as a lot of people are saying, oh no, it's just tough talk, it's just saber rattling. As this feels different, as right now, the geopolitical situation, especially now with what is unfolding with Poland, Estonia, Moldova, Romania, could soon escalate towards grand proportions that there's no going back from. As some would argue, it's already too late. These countries have been preparing for war. They've been investing in war. They've been spending money on war, and they're going to be getting themselves more war. As now, Trump talked about, NATO, go shoot down these Russian aircraft and drones. Now, all of this is happening as Zelensky is also making some very interesting moves and demands here that do highlight an ever so expanding situation that I would say is absolutely now more dangerous than ever. What will happen from here? What will transpire? As it looks like Donald Trump just took the gloves off. He's not playing around. And he's not just talking about sanctions. He's talking about bold NATO actions that I think could lead towards an extremely disastrous situation that I hope and pray we're able to avoid. Slavic lives matter, and a lot of them are losing their lives for what? What's the reason? What's the justification? As right now, there are going to be some important conversations that need to be had. And if you think we're doing a good job hosting them, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. All of this is just moments ago. Donald Trump gave his UN address where he talked about Russia imposing more sanctions, preventing European Union nations from buying Russian oil through India. They do it through China too, but China wasn't mentioned for some I think clear, obvious reasons surrounding rare earth minerals. As right now, we do have a rare earth mineral deal with Ukraine that is using these minerals in order to pay for U.S. weapons. NATO is paying for these U.S. weapons. A lot of people say, great, but I'm saying, hey, our weapons are still over there, leading towards these escalatory type of situations that I think are more dangerous than ever. As the President of the United States, with Zelensky, just announced this.
Do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
Mr. President, any update on your talks with President Putin, and do you still trust him?
I'll let you know in about a month from now, okay?
President Trump, your
are
message
you
to
willing
the...
to provide Ukraine with the security guarantees the same way as European allies?
Well, that's later down the road. We'll be talking about that. Hopefully, we'll be in a position to talk about that a little bit later on. It's a little bit too early to answer that question.
Security guarantees. Security guarantees, that would, of course, mean that there would be a deal, that the war would fight, and then Ukraine would get some kind of protection and backing, allegedly. Trump's like, oh, it's too early for that because we're in a full-on war. Now, Donald Trump's first statement, he was asked directly, hey, should NATO countries shoot down Russian aircraft? Yes. All of this is happening right now as the UK fighter jets are flying over Poland right now after accused drones from the Belarusian Russian side were flying over to Poland. Now, some people are saying this was just a mistake. Some people are saying, no, this was a prodding attack. Now, the Russians have done similar kind of incidences to Estonia, similar instances to Romania. And now Estonia just declared NATO Article 4. That is the one right before 5, where there are serious considerations, serious meetings that are happening beforehand. Now, Poland was shooting down and attempting to shoot down as much of the Russian drones over its territory as Russia previously flew missiles over Poland. And that's also another important thing that happened here, as Estonia, in the United Nations, printed pictures and showed evidence that a lot of people say is undeniable of Russian MiG fighter jets violating their airspace, which now Donald Trump says if this happens again, shoot them down. Now, again, let's just be honest with ourselves. This is a big kind of escalation here that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with. Why? Okay, I understand. Russians probably doing a little probing attack probably seeing defensive, probably making people feel uncomfortable, being like, look at what else we could do. Look how much resources we have. Look, we could threaten. Let's calculate the defensives. Let's see what you're going to do when we're going to attack you. That's one explanation, right? Second explanation is you just got like a low IQ comrade. He's drinking the vodka. They love the vodka there. He's like, yo, blah, cha. And then he's like, oh, crap, I'm in Estonia. It could be an accident. And there are a lot of accidents. But now to treat accidents with lethal force would mean full-on kinetic warfare. NATO Article 5 called in. NATO Article 5 meaning all the countries come together to align themselves and fight against Russia. Something that, of course, could also be false flagged, like many wars have always been previously started, Gulf of Tonkin type of incidences, Operation Northwoods type of incidences that create a situation where, oh, look at this MiG fighter that we reproduced that looks exactly like the Russians. It's the Russians. Shoot it down. Oh, now we gotta shoot down more of them. Now we gotta fight more of them. Now they did it again. That's what I'm personally worried about here, as Donald Trump's speech about Russia at the United Nations was very interesting. And we'll get into that a little bit. He's been saying similar things for a while, as well as the very kind of big declarations that he just made, as now this new move by Ukraine really does highlight how the situation could get out of hand very quickly. Now, before talking about that and a lot more, we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com, your way to do lazy forms of activism, meet like-minded individuals, find friends, find foes, understand where people actually stand by just wearing t-shirts. So what I'm wearing right now is one of the t-shirts you can get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. It's very simple, and I had this for about 6 years. As you can see, the wording, like if you wash it like you're supposed to wash it with the instructions, this thing's last you forever. We had a quality control issue with the old manufacturer. Like, it used to do really great quality, and then it kind of just surprised us and then it okay quality. Every time there was an issue, they made people a new shirt, and I'm like, I don't want to, this was just a headache to deal with. Now this new company, really great quality, no issues at all, and a really great company, and we got a lot of really funny t-shirts. This one, Normalized Critical Thinking, is a great one. A lot of people are like, man, that's a great shirt, high five, I like that one. Oh, a lot of ladies, oh, what do you mean by that? Oh yeah, I agree with you. Again, it's great to meet people. I like this one because it's a little bit more on the nose. It says, are you single? Are you taken? Are you resisting the satanic predator corporate banking cabal with memes and thought crimes? Yeah. And then, of course, we got this one labeling you a thought criminal in this modern technocratic dystopian day and age. And of course, a lot of people are like, let's Netflix and chill. And I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you. You dirty. You probably got some gunk on your trunk. Is that what the young kids say? Gunk on the trunk? Is that another name for chlamydia? Anyway, gonorrhea. Anyway, I don't want any of that. I want steak and conspiracy theories, babes. That's all I want. I want to eat some nice steak. I want to have some conspiracy. Listen, the shirts only get more obscure. Right? And if you find a person that's like, I really like steak and conspiracy theories too, you're like, oh, we could be friends. Whether they're ladies or men, whatever. Do your thing on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We got long sleeves. We got short sleeves. Navigating it, you just got to navigate it a little bit, but you can find a lot of really cool, great t-shirts. So great, amazing human beings that wear them. Check them out. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Cannot recommend it enough. Now, Donald Trump's speech at the United Nations was interesting, and I did my first video this morning about it. I watched most of it, and I'm like, okay, I like this. I didn't like this. The one thing I didn't like, it was this kind of posturing and talking about more sanctions against Russia. And I'm like, okay, the sanctions didn't work. The sanctions make them closer to India and to Iran and to China and to Brazil and to Venezuela. You see what's happening here? You see the alliances that are being set up here, right? Now with Transnistria, now with Romania, now with Moldova, buffer zones, right? City-states that are in a very high likelihood of being the next potential Ukraine here. How will all of this kind of unfold here? Well, we're going to look at it. But Trump's UN speech to Europe was, hey, Stop letting third world Muslims into your country. Second thing he brought up is like, hey, if you guys don't like Russia, why are you continuing to buy their oil through India? India just gets a little cut of it. Same with China. China's doing it too, but China wasn't mentioned. The United Nations is, quote, incompetent and waste of money. Yep. Now, a couple days ago, about a week ago, Trump says, look, I'm going to impose more sanctions, but I'm not going to do it if European countries keep buying Russian oil through India. And he didn't say China, just India. There's been a lot of pressure. H-1B visas also got a direct hit, mainly because of this geopolitical type of issue. A lot of this is also related to what happened between the United States and Iran here. As the President of the United States, according to Naomi Sibit, just humiliated von der Leyen.
For those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to the city. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia.
And they're the biggest proponents for more war with Russia. They're like, more, yeah. And I'm like, give me that Russian oil. The alternative is buying American oil at a little bit more of a premium. Now already, more demand, more kind of isolation. You see these two kind of economies being set up here. So Trump obviously wants the Europeans to buy more expensive American energy.
It's embarrassing to them, and it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that.
Yep, and Germany, the biggest egregious actor here that Donald Trump was making fun of for getting rid of their nuclear reactors. He was made fun of a couple of years ago at the United Nations for bringing this up. Now it's true, all right? Now Germany is in some serious downward economic spiral because they just got rid of most of their energy production, and now they're like, oopsie daisy, sorry. Not in guten Tag, nein.
They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time. So I'm ready to discuss this. We're going to discuss it today with the European nations, all gathered here.
That's going to be an interesting conversation, as, of course, Donald Trump has a major declaration. And he said Ukraine can now retake all of its territory back from Russia and, quote, maybe even further than that. Yep, he described Russia as a paper tiger, and he released this message on Truth Social, saying, after getting to know and fully understand the Ukrainian-Russian military and the economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of the Ukraine back in its original form. What time, patience, and financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where the war started, is very much an option. Why not? Question mark. Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have never taken a real military power less than a week to win. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger when the people living in Moscow and all of the great city towns and districts all throughout Russia find out what is really going on with this war. The fact that it is almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed and all of other things that are taking place in this war economy where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit and only getting better. Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form and, who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. And again, NATO, the United States calls the shots with NATO. So now we have this like proxy, oh no, it's NATO, it's independent. No, well, no, United States is calling a lot of shots with NATO. They're the ones overwhelmingly supporting it. So this is what Donald Trump also had to say.
Russia's war against Ukraine since the last time you saw President Zelensky?
Well, the biggest progress is that the Russian economy is terrible right now. It's, as you know, it's crashing. And that, frankly, Ukraine is doing a very good job of stopping this very large army. It's pretty amazing. You know, this is a war that should have ended in 3 days, 4 days. People said it was going to be very quick, and you got to hand it to the Ukrainian soldiers and everybody involved. It's still going on, and that's not a good thing for Russia. This was supposed to be quick, and so, you know, Russia doesn't look very distinguished, having taken 3.5 years now, right? It's about 3.5 years of very hard fighting, and it looks like it's not going to end for a long time.
Yeah, that's a sad reality that many European countries have been preparing for. Now, Russia has also announced that it's going to be seizing the financial assets of, quote, international Satanists and putting them on a terror watch list. I mean, that's one way to get some funds here, as of course the international sanctions have prevented their economy from being able to transact internationally. Now Trump putting tremendous amounts of pressure on India also has not worked here as well here. Now, one person that's clearly happy with all the moves and decisions is the Rothschild banker Emmanuel Macron, that has been one of the biggest escalators here with this particular conflict, as Donald Trump reiterated the line that Russia could be a paper tiger. So far, the fighting is very devastating, is very brutal, and it looks like Zelensky is preparing for this conflict to, of course, expand internationally. As the Kiev Independent is now reporting that Zelensky just signed into law a provision that allows Ukrainian troops to operate abroad during martial law. Now, they're currently under martial law. They don't have elections. Alternative political parties, alternative religions, alternative independent media have all been targeted. Some of them have been arrested. Some of them have been taken out. That's martial law. There's no elections. Elections have been postponed here. Even Donald Trump made a remark saying, "Oh, maybe I'll declare martial law and I'll continue to be president indefinitely." But this new law is interesting, and I think it relates to some people are saying, well, they're just trying to change the flag of their ships and then send some of the ships to Turkey, a NATO country, or to the United Kingdom, because their ships are kind of stuck in whatever ships they kind of have in Odessa. That's some of the rumors that's going on here. I don't think it's related to that. I think it's more related to what's happening right now in Moldova. Moldova is a country with a small kind of weird Russian territory within it that's bordering Ukraine that now some people believe could be starting an initiative that could start another wave of attacks, another form of war between Ukraine, Moldova, Transnistria. I'm saying that wrong. But anyway, Zelensky also is calling on NATO allies to deploy troops in Ukraine. Yes, you heard that correctly. Who knows? Donald Trump is kind of now, again, originally he was like very strong on Zelensky and very difficult towards what they were trying. And then he switched it up, and then he was strong on Putin. Then a little bit on Zelensky, and now overwhelmingly he supports Zelensky, and he's kind of giving them everything that they kind of want here, even in private messages allegedly telling Zelensky to go strike deep inside of Russia. Those initial reports were denied here, but now it seems like gloves are off. This war is going to be going on forever. Trump is talking tough. You see the saber rattle. Zelensky calling for NATO allies again. Zelensky understands that there's a big benefit if NATO gets involved here. Zelensky understands that if this conflict expands, they are no longer fighting this conflict alone. I mean, they really aren't. It's pretty much NATO, their supplies, their tools, foreign mercenaries, a lot of them cartel, some of them Colombian. Lots of the cartel guys are just sending guys over to Ukraine to do one tour in order to learn all the stuff, and then they're bringing it back, and they're helping them fight their kind of cartel wars and wars against that are happening against local governments. Now, there's going to be parliamentary elections in Moldova. Now, NATO is Russia is saying that NATO is going to be occupying Moldova, specifically with what is happening at Transnistria. And it looks like it's going to be potentially another kind of Maidan revolution like we have already seen unfold in Ukraine back in 2014. Russian state media is writing, Europe is preparing to occupy Moldova. Russia's foreign and intel service NATO forces are now concentrating in Romania near Moldova, with the first group already in Odessa. Brussels won't abandon these plans even if Moldova's post-election situation doesn't require intervention. Now, these elections are going to be a little bit tumultuous, to say the least here. All right? as some people are saying, they could start off an internal kind of civil conflict within the country. Some people are saying this could be the kind of launching pad for Transnistria and more of the kind of Russian Soviet-aligned sovereign kind of territory within Moldova to go attack Ukraine, start another border. Will that actually happen here? I don't know. That's why some people are saying Zelensky just signed this kind of order here. As some people are saying, no. He could send them to Poland. He could send them to Estonia. And next time there's an air incursion, the fighting could just kind of happen all over Europe, which to me is ridiculous, which is stupid. I think everything and possibly conceivable in order to try to de-escalate this conflict needs to be tried. And I don't see that, sadly, happening. If you think this conflict is dumb and needs to end, share this video. I think it does too. I think it's gone on for too long. I hate seeing Slavic men lose their lives. This is a travesty of injustice, and God willing, I'm praying peace prevails. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for buying a t-shirt. It really means a lot. It's awesome. It's beautiful seeing you guys wearing these t-shirts in real life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/weare.